The explosion was deafening. Neighbors ran to their windows as smoke poured from Karen's porch. Moments later, she was dragged out in cuffs, coughing and crying, all because she couldn't resist stealing one more package from the wrong house mine. I still remember the day I moved into Oakwood Estates, a picture-perfect suburban neighborhood with manicured lawns and identical mailboxes. The welcome basket on my porch contained a 3-ring binder of HOA regulations, thicker than my military discharge papers, and there she was standing on my doorstep with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Welcome to Oakwood Estates. I'm Karen Wilcox, president of the Homeowners Association," she said, extending a manicured hand. "We take pride in maintaining certain standards here." She glanced disapprovingly at the moving boxes visible through my open door. "I'm sure you'll want to get those out of sight as soon as possible. Visible storage is against Regulation 7.4. I nodded politely, summoning the patience I'd learned during my 8 years as a Marine. "Thank you for the welcome. I'm Mark Johnson, just discharged last month. I didn't mention my 2 tours in Afghanistan or my specialty in security systems. Some information is best kept close to the chest over the next few weeks. I observed the neighborhood dynamics from my front porch." Karen seemed omnipresent, measuring grass height with a ruler, photographing improperly positioned trash cans, and leaving violation notices for infractions as minor as having a garden hose visible on a Tuesday. The neighbors spoke of her in hushed tones, rolling their eyes when her name came up, but quickly falling in line whenever she appeared. What caught my attention, however, was the neighborhood chatter about missing packages. At first it seemed like isolated incidents. A missile here, a porch pirate there. But when my neighbor Tom mentioned that he had clear footage of someone in oversized sunglasses and a wide-brimmed hat swiping his anniversary gift for his wife, I became suspicious. The figure's gait and build seemed familiar. Then it happened to me. I'd ordered specialized tools I needed for my new security consulting business. Expensive, specialized equipment that wasn't easily replaceable. The tracking showed delivered, but my porch was empty when I arrived home. "This happened 3 times in 2 weeks. Maybe you should report it to the HOA," suggested my neighbor Sarah with a knowing look. "Karen has cameras all over her property. She might have caught something." I smiled. "I think I'll handle this my way as a security specialist." I knew exactly how to set up surveillance without being obvious. Micro cameras at different angles, motion sensors that would alert my phone, and finally the bait. I ordered an empty box but added a special modification, a GPS tracker, a timer, and a small, harmless, but very noisy alarm that would activate 30 seconds after being moved. I placed the package prominently on my porch one Friday afternoon, making sure to look around nervously as I set it down, then drove away as if leaving for the weekend. Instead, I parked around the corner and waited, monitoring everything through my phone. It only took 48 hours. At 5:43 Sunday morning, my motion alerts buzzed. I watched through the camera feed as a figure in a dark hoodie crept onto my porch, looked around furtively, then grabbed my package. The person turned toward the street, and for just a moment the hood slipped back enough to reveal Karen's face twisted with anticipation. The timer began its countdown. I called the non-emergency police line, explained the situation, and mentioned that I had evidence of multiple thefts. Then I quietly walked back to my house, staying out of sight. Karen made it to her garage with my package but was still inside when the alarm activated a piercing wail designed to disorient through my cameras. I watched her panicked reaction as she realized something was wrong with this particular theft. She tried to muffle the sound by shoving the package under a pile of what appeared to be other stolen deliveries. The police arrived within minutes, surrounding her house with surprising efficiency. As I approached one officer, I showed him my phone with a live feed. "She's currently in the garage with the stolen property," I said quietly, "and based on what I can see, there's evidence of many more thefts." The officer nodded and spoke into his radio. A moment later, an authoritative voice boomed through a megaphone. "Karen Wilcox, this is the police. We have a warrant to search your property. Please exit through the front door with your hands visible." Nothing happened for several long moments. Then her garage door opened just enough for her to squeeze through. She was still wearing the hoodie, but had somehow managed to apply full makeup and change into business casual attire, as if preparing to attend an HOA meeting rather than face arrest. "This is outrageous," she shouted, her voice carrying across the now awakening neighborhood. Do you know who I am? I'm the president of this community. This is harassment. The officer with the megaphone remained calm. Miss Wilcox, we have video evidence of you stealing packages. Please put your hands up and walk slowly toward us. She took one step forward, then froze. This is all a misunderstanding. That new resident is breaking multiple HOA regulations with his surveillance equipment. If anyone should be arrested, it's him. I was merely confiscating contraband materials. I couldn't help but smile at the absurdity of her claim. The police, however, weren't amused. Final warning. Ms. Wilcox, exit your property and surrender, or we will be forced to take action. She retreated inside her house, slamming the door. I'm calling my lawyer. You can't do this. I have rights. This is my neighborhood. What happened next surprised even me. A police tactical unit had quietly assembled during her tirade. They approached her door methodically, and after 3 clear verbal warnings that went unanswered, they deployed a flashbang grenade. The concussive blast shook the neighborhood windows, rattled birds scattered from trees, and a cloud of smoke billowed from her porch. Seconds later, the tactical team breached her door. The neighbors had gathered now, watching in silent amazement as Karen Wilcox, self-appointed Queen of Oakwood Estates, was led out in handcuffs. She'd apparently been caught mid-cost, changed one arm in a bathrobe, the other still in her hoodie, mascara streaking down her face. But what really completed the picture was the death grip she maintained on my bait package, as if unwilling to relinquish a prize even in defeat. This is all a mistake, she wailed as they guided her toward the police car. I was protecting our property values. That man is the criminal. He's decreasing our curb appeal. The police searched a garage and found what could only be described as a hoarder's paradise of stolen packages, over 50 in total. Some still unopened, others partially ransacked. There were birthday presents, anniversary gifts, medical supplies, and business equipment. It seemed Karen's need to control extended far beyond lawn height and trash can placement. 2 days later, I received a call from the district attorney's office. Karen was being charged with multiple felony counts of mail theft, possession of stolen property, and resisting arrest. The evidence was overwhelming, and they expected her to accept a plea deal rather than face trial. The monthly HOA meeting that week was surprisingly well attended. An emergency motion was introduced to remove Karen from her position as president. When the time came to vote, every hand in the room raised in favor of her removal, even those who had once been her staunchest supporters. The final tally, 47 votes to 0. Later that evening, I heard from my neighbor that Karen had been sentenced to 18 months in prison, 5 years of probation, and ordered to pay $12,500 in restitution to her victims when the judge announced the sentence. Witnesses said she collapsed into her chair, mouth open in shock, as if unable to comprehend that her reign of suburban terror had finally come to an